All right, so this is AP Stats Quideo 4 basic question. It says the Census Bureau reports that households spend an average of 31% of their total spending on housing. A home builders association believes that this average is lower in their area. So they interview a sample of 40 households in Cleveland area to learn what percentage of their spending goes towards. So then they have their null hypothesis, that being that it's exactly 31, and then the ha being that it's less than 31. And then they give us that the population STD is 9.6. So question A says, what is the sampling distribution of the mean percent that the sample spends on housing if the null hypothesis is true? Sketch the density curve of the sampling. Okay, so for A, I'm gonna turn it real quick. The first thing I did was, okay, so we have to find the sampling distribution based off the density curve. So the first thing I did was test it to make sure that it was normal and test the sample size to make sure it was big enough. So we have the NP times 31 times 40 being greater than or equal to 10. Well, greater than 10, and then the QP times 0.69 times 40 being greater than 10, and then you take the 10 times 40, which equals 400, and you know that it is large enough because there are more than 400 adults in the US. So this is our sampling distribution right here. They gave us the mean, which is 31, which is why it's in the middle. Then, so we have to find the standard deviation, and we take 9.6, which is the population standard deviation right here, and we over the square root of 40 households, which is the sample, and we're going to assume that it's random. And then it gives us 1.52. So what you do is you add 1.52 to each side to get your standard deviations. For part B, it says, suppose that the study finds 30.2 for the 40 households in the sample. Mark this point on the axis of your sketch. Then suppose that the study result is 27.6. Mark this point on your sketch. Referring to your sketch, explain in simple language why one result is good evidence that the average Cleveland spending on housing is less than 31, whereas the other result is not. So, looking at our curve, 30.2, which is right here in between the 29.48 and the 31, which is our mean. You can tell that the 30.2 is good evidence because it is close to the mean and it's only one standard deviation away, whereas 27.6 is further away from the mean and more than 2 standard deviations away. Part C wants you to just shade the area under the curve that gives the p-value of 30.2. So that's just shading to the left of 30.2. And that's the basic question.